everybody, my name is April from Permaculture Healthy Recipes, and today I'm going to show you how to make kombucha. So some of you knew us when we were selling fermented food at the market, and if you do, you know we took off. We went traveling. So we've been traveling for about 8-9 months, okay? And so now we've decided to stop. And so this is our new kitchen, new home and everything, and I have to start everything up again. So one of the first things I'm starting up is kombucha, because a friend of mine gave me a SCOBY when I stopped in to see her, so that's one thing I can start up. And I happened to find a big container yesterday at the shop to make a continuous brew kombucha tea. That's what I'm making, yeah. So I'm going to show you how to make a continuous brew and a single brew, because it's pretty much the same thing. It's only the next time you just add it onto that one instead of making a whole new batch. So if you're going to make single batches, you can just do what we're doing today every time. And then if you're going to do a continuous brew, all you do is make a new tea and stick it on top, which I'll show you later. Okay, so I already have water boiling here, and I'm going to take the lid off, so it's going to get a bit hot. Okay, so the reason I have this water going, I've just started it, and I'm going to make a big batch, 4 liters. So I'm boiling 4 liters of water, and the reason I'm doing that now to start with is because I need to boil it for 10 minutes. Okay, so we usually have a filter on our tap that takes out chlorine, but most of our stuff is still in our storage shed, including that. So I got to do it the hard way, which is boil 10 minutes. Okay, so with the steam, that's why I took the lid off. With the steam, it's letting all the chlorine float away. So you don't want chlorine water in your kombucha, because chlorine kills bacteria. Kombucha is all about the good bacteria. So we want the good bacteria to flourish and our SCOBY to survive. Okay, so what I'll show you next is the basic recipe. So I do have a quick basic recipe video if you don't want to sit through this whole how do you make it. I just want to know what goes in it. Okay, you can watch that, but this is the more detailed video of how to make it. So to make kombucha, this is basically everything you need, plus a little extra here. But what you need is a SCOBY. So that's my SCOBY, and that's my starter tea, and it's got another little SCOBY in it. Okay, and you need 1/4 cup of sugar, 3 tea bags per 1 liter of water. Okay, so you only need 1/2 cup for your whole batch. However much you're going to make, it doesn't matter. But the tea bags and the sugar have to be scaled per liter. So I'm going to make 4 liters, so I need 12 tea bags and a cup of sugar. So that's some of my, like, you can put your your kombucha in any jar. This is a pasta sauce jar, okay, so that's what I had it in. And then I put it in here to make it look a bit nicer, but I left it all out, yeah. So I have some apple cider vinegar here, and that is not for the kombucha. That's to clean my jar. So I have given it a clean out, and if you want to do a smaller jar, you can have something like that. You don't need a lid, but okay, so what we did when we sold food at the markets is after we cleaned all our things, we put a little bit of vinegar in just to wipe it all down, so that it could, yeah, it's just, you know, an extra cleaner, and it's got the good bacteria in it, so it's only going to help. So I will do that right now. So I'm just going to put a bit on my cloth and just give it like a whole wipe out, so anything that the kombucha is going to touch. Okay, so if you're starting from scratch with a bottle, then you might want to do something similar, just a small one, give it a clean out like that. Okay, that's all I had to do with that. So that's all the apple cider vinegar is for, cleaning, for this. First time only. Next time, just leave it, it's fine. Okay, so let's move us around to the tea. Okay, so we got it boiling up here. So the most important thing to remember is the SCOBY cannot get hot, okay? But the tea has to get hot. So it's going to take a little while, but So what I'm going to do is put in my sugar and tea while it's all going. Okay. So a whole cup of sugar. So you're not really going to eat the sugar. The bacteria is going to eat the sugar. It's its food. Okay, so in your boiling water, put in your cup of sugar per liter. A quarter cup of sugar per liter, not a cup, not a cup. Okay, and then the tea bags. So I've got them ready. I'm going to do 12. 2, 3. So 3 tea bags per liter. I should say, if you want your kombucha a little bit sweeter, you can do 1/3 of a cup of sugar. And the longer it brews, the less sweet it'll get. If you let it go for a long time, it'll turn into vinegar. And one of our continuous brew batches in the past, it got really vinegary and I just gave up the whole thing. But really I could have just started again with just a little bit. Okay, so all I'm going to do is let the sugar dissolve. It still has another 5 minutes to go. Okay, so we'll come back and have a look then. Okay, so I've just turned my water off here, and now it has to cool down. So it's going to take a while to cool down to do this amount. So when I usually make kombucha, when I don't have to boil the water for 10 minutes, then I just do a little bit. So I just do enough to dissolve the sugar and to get the tea, you know, all out. Okay, so I just do, you know, I just do a bit and then let that little bit cool down and just add all my cold water on top of that. Okay, and then it's pretty much ready just to put in. But this time I had to boil it all, so if you have to boil it all, you have to wait until it's quite cool. Because scobies, they can't get hot or it kills them. It's like all probiotic food, the good bacteria and everything, they die with heat. So you don't want to cook it, you don't want to heat it, you don't want to boil it. So I'll probably have to wait a little while and then I'll come back again. Okay, well, it's been over an hour since I've boiled this tea, sweet tea, and it's still actually quite hot. So if I stick my finger in, it still feels a bit hot. So I thought I would just stir it a bit, see if I can get some heat out. Does that work? I'm not sure, but I'm trying. I think it's working. Anyway, so I just want to get it done. Lots of times when I have made a big batch like this, I've just let it sit on the counter for the afternoon, basically let it cool completely down. But I'm trying to get this done before little people get home. So I'll just tell you some of the other things to keep in mind, and then we'll go back to sticking it all together after this is cool. So the size of the container you have doesn't really matter for kombucha. It just depends how much you want to make and how much you might go through in a week. So I'm going to try a big one because I quite like it. But if you have a little one, like the last one I made was this jar. That's the biggest jar I had when I moved into this house. So it's only been a week. So about half of it was the starter, and so I would only have about that much to drink, and it takes at least 4 days, so that's not quite enough. Whatever size container you want to have at least 1 inch or 2 inches at the top, because there needs to be room for expanding with all fermented food. So, okay, weather and fermented food, you know, it changes things. So we're coming up to summer here. We're in Australia, so it's getting hotter, and so things are going to ferment faster. And they might get sour faster. If you live in a cold area, it might take quite a while. So if you do live if you're, you know, coming into winter, or you're in the middle of winter, it's cold in your house, anything like that, then just try and put your kombucha somewhere where it can get a bit of warmth. So in the kitchen is good, but not right next to the stove, and not in direct sunlight, okay, because that can interfere with making the babies, not making babies, making the SCOBY babies, and things like that. Okay, so the other thing is put your kombucha in a place where it's not going to get moved, because kombucha doesn't like to move very much. Okay, back again. Okay, so I think it's finally cooled off enough for me to put everything all together. So this is the final bit that we're gonna do. Okay, so we made our sugar tea, and so however much tea you make, add it to your container, and take the tea bags out. I forgot to get a plate. Stick them on. I took most of mine out. What we're gonna do is put all, so if you're gonna do a continuous brew or a single brew, this bit's all the same to start with, okay? So everyone's starting in the same place. And so, I'm really bad at not spilling. Okay. So fill your container up with the sweet tea. And the next thing we need is the starter culture. So I've got some left over in that jar and I'm gonna put it in. It's got little floaty bits, which are good. And then I have my baby SCOBY, and I'm going to put that one into, just get them all going. And, okay. So this has been sitting for a while. Let's see if you can see. Okay, you see that little floaty at the bottom? You can drink that. Okay, you can, like, you can eat them, you can ingest it, it's all fine. It's just like, might be a bit gelatinous and unpleasant. But lots of the floaty bits you don't notice. But I'm just going to put it all in. I could actually drink this now, but I just want this to have lots of starter. I want it to have a good start, so I'm going to put it in. I might give that a little stir, since I have so much in here. And then, yeah, it should be okay for this. Okay, and then we'll just put this on. And if it floats to the side or the bottom, it doesn't really matter. It goes in. So they're kind of swishing in a circle. That's not the best, but it'll be fine. Okay, so now it's done. Now it can sit. We just need to put a lid on of some kind of cloth. So I'm going to use a tea towel. So you can use a tea towel, you can use paper towel, you can use a coffee filter. It's just we don't want ants or flies, fruit flies to get in, because that'll ruin it. So I've got an elastic band and a cloth cover. I should just show you. So this jar I bought yesterday. It has a lid, but I need the air to get at it, so I can't use that. I'm just gonna sit there now. Back on. Okay. So there is the lovely kombucha. So why this is continuous brew is because it has a tap at the bottom, which we'll be able to just, when it's ready, just get it out. But what I think I will do is just use this as my kombucha one and get most of it out and do a double ferment. So the next video will be about bottled kombucha, which is where you can make it all bubbly and give it flavors, and a lot of people find that the most exciting bit about kombucha. And so this is just going to sit over in that corner, I think, and out of the sun, and brew for 4 to 14 days. So I am going to taste it in 4 days to see if it's ready at all. And lots of times I don't bother with the second ferment because I just want to drink it. So I don't care that much about the bubbles, but the bubbles are nice too. Okay, so join us for the next video, which is the bottled one, if you want to do that. And if you are making a continuous brew, what you do next, when you take out what you want, put the same amount in as you took out. So if you take out 1 liter to drink, then you make 1 liter of sweet tea and add it to the top. That's it. It keeps going. If you're going to do a single one, then you kind of do everything all over again. You keep that half a cup of tea from this batch, and you get your SCOBY, and you make a new one with 1 liter, 2 liters, 3 liters, whatever you want. So I usually just do it by the liter because the ratio, 1 liter, 3 tea bags, 1/4 cup of sugar. So that's the end. So if you want more on fermented food, eating healthy, all that stuff, please join our email list and subscribe to our videos, and that's it. Just those two things. And I'll see you in the next video. Okay, bye-bye.